Okay, everybody, sit down and relax. It's me, Gregory Mannarino. This is my pre-market report on this Thursday, October 13th, 2022. Here's where we stand. So this very highly anticipated inflation report came out this morning that yet again proves, this is their numbers, and they're admitting that inflation continues to surge out of control. There's no end in sight here, and you and I have been so far ahead of the curve on this. It's frankly unbelievable. So core consumer prices came in higher than expected. Who didn't expect this? Well, I don't know. You and I clearly understand that this is going to continue. It's not going to stop here. And let me put another perspective on this for you, and I'm going to show you a graph right off of the Federal Reserve's own website. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Yesterday, I explained to you in a kind of a long video that central banks here have no interest at all. I've been telling you this for months in actually controlling inflation. What they're doing now is selling a lie to the people of the world being propagated by the mainstream propaganda ministry. That is, oh yeah, we're going to raise rates, and that's going to somehow miraculously bring inflation down. Right off the bat, you and I knew, because we discussed it right here, that would never work. It's not even meant to work, but people are being sold that lie, and it continues even this morning on top of this bad economic report out that inflation continues to surge higher. Okay. By the way, stock futures are set to crater. The stock market is going to open markedly lower this morning. 10-year yield over 4% after this report came out. Knee-jerk higher in the dollar. All kinds of fear. You got gold and silver under pressure. Crypto's under pressure. Crude oil under pressure. This is very ugly this morning again. So, what we have here is a situation that is very, very simple. Let me show this to you. This is right off the Federal Reserve's own website. This is the money supply. It's gone absolutely parabolic. Now, central banks, none more so than the Federal Reserve, want you to believe that, again, by them raising rates, it's going to somehow bring down inflation. No. I've explained to you for weeks that we are in a currency free fall. This currency free fall has been going on for a very, very long time. It's a race to the bottom. Purchasing power of the currency is being sucked out. Central banks are in, well, here we go again, a massively expansive monetary policy mode, despite all the nonsense of quantitative tightening. Does this look like quantitative tightening to you? This is the money supply. And what we're seeing now with regard to surging inflation, okay, they're saying it. It's not Greg Mannarino anymore. Okay, they're admitting this is going on. Is a direct result of this expansive policy to continue to inflate the money supply. You knew this already. I've covered this so much, so hard for so long, how central banks, all they want to do is inflate. You want the proof? It's right here, and you can get this right off of the Federal Reserve's own website. Now, this phenomenon is a central bank phenomenon. Central banks around the world are continuing to expand their money supply as well here. And this thing, it's beyond propaganda. Beyond propaganda, how raising rates is going to supposedly bring down inflation. It's not even meant to do it. All it's meant to do is to crush demand, crush the global economy, and suck people down with it. Okay, this is a mechanism that you and I have realized is in place for many, many years. What have I been telling you? It's a destruction of an entire class of people on a global level. Extreme haves, extreme have-nots here. Two-tier society, new feudal system, but no one's talking about it. The issue, again, of how we can fix this is very, very simple. If not just the Federal Reserve, if central banks around the world were to stop doing this, okay, in other words, and they could do this overnight, all central banks need to do is contract the money supply. And they can do that if they wanted to, and they don't, and they will not do this. Okay, but I'm just throwing it out there. If central banks wanted to control inflation overnight, all they would need to do is raise the capital requirements or the reserves that are held in the banks. That would contract the money supply. This would stop and inflation would drop. But you see, you're never going to hear that. Anyway, imagine, for example, you were to see this on Fox Business. You were to see this on CNBC. You were to see this on Bloomberg. Again, right off the Fed's website. I didn't create this out of nothing. Okay, I added that red arrow to show you where we're going, so you can see this for yourself. A picture is worth 1,000 words here. But the lie is going to be expanded on. Mark my words. After today's abysmal report here on core consumer prices, inflation continue to surge higher. You're going to hear again Fox Business, Bloomberg, CNBC talking about Fed rate hikes, how they're going to continue, how they're going to keep moving forward here. Of course they are. And this has, again, nothing to do with stopping inflation. It's about crushing the economy. It's about bringing the economy to its knees, bringing the people to their knees here. And so central banks can fulfill their goal to be the lenders, buyers of last resort, and solidify their position as the one world government that you and I have been warned about for a very long time. Does this make sense to you, what I'm saying? I think it should here. And I want to hear from you. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? Okay? Do you think you would ever see this on a mainstream media propaganda channel? Do you think ever a politician would talk about this? No, you're going to hear the lie. And remember how this works. The more they tell the lie, but raising rates is going to make a difference. The bigger the lie, the easier it is for people to believe it, and the more people will believe it. So you're going to hear that again. Raising rates. Central banks are going to continue to raise rates aggressively. This is going to slow down inflation. This has been going on for months, people. And I want to know, answer this question. When are people going to wake up? Are people ever going to wake up that this has been ineffective? Raising rates is completely ineffective. They got to contract the money supply to stop inflation, but they won't do it. As a matter of fact, what you're going to see is another crisis, followed up by another crisis, followed up by another crisis that's going to demand that we pull more cash into the now, and henceforth, money supply will balloon even further here. Expand wars, nuclear Armageddon, as our illustrious imbecile president is trying to sell everyone fear. Make people afraid of one thing, you can control their minds. So anyway, you know all that. On the back of this abysmal report this morning on surging inflation, we also found out that jobless claims, I wrote all this down, came in higher than expected. Not much, but higher than expected. Okay, whatever. It's always unexpected. No one sees this coming on the mainstream financial networks. Nobody sees it coming. You got to ignore these things or call the networks and just laugh into the phone, because it's some kind of mind-twisting mind screw on an incredible scale. And it's just all lies, all of it here. But anyway, on the back of this, stock futures went from being positive to hardcore negative, falling about 500 points with regard to the Dow futures here. 10-year yield over 4%, people, and that knee-jerk higher in the dollar. I want you to do yourselves a favor. In the description of this video is a link to the MMRI, Mannarino Market Risk Indicator. Watch what happens to that today. We are a breath away from hitting 300. 300 is extreme risk in this market here. We were like 277, 280 yesterday. Excuse me. Well, who knows what we're going to hit today. Maybe we'll break over 300. Go have a look at that. Save that to your computer so you can look at the MMRI in real time. People, look, this is it. Okay, we're seeing global bond yields continue to sell off, this rise here, because bonds are selling off. We have an illiquid market. We have massive instability here in the global debt markets. Meanwhile, central banks continue to vastly increase the money supply. Excuse me, my nose is so itchy. Oh, God. allergies or something. Anyway, so realize what you're looking at here, okay? A debt market which is coming apart, clearly. Is that phenomenon going to play out and accelerate moving forward? Well, look, once you and I see the 10-year yield jumping by 20, 30, 40 basis points in one day, what is that going to do to the stock market? It's going to destroy it. Okay, that's when we know we're at that moment where this is really going to go down in flames. You understand? Hedge your positions, people. If you're long the market, if you're able to do it, hedge your positions. Take up protective puts if you have to against any long positions, or get out of the market altogether. This is not a pretty place to be in right now, gauging from what we're seeing here in the debt market. All right, with regard to the propaganda, how raising rates is going to miraculously somehow make a difference. Meanwhile, it hasn't done a thing. It's been completely ineffective, and people are being lied to. They have no idea what they're seeing. And again, it just drives me nuts. Just for a nanosecond, put on CNBC, put on Fox Business, put on Bloomberg. They're going to tell you, oh, the Fed's going to be raising rates more aggressively because they really got to do something about inflation because they're trying to fight it. It's a lie. It's a lie. All they got to do is contract the money supply, people. The Federal Reserve and other central banks need to just use their tools that they have in their toolbox and tell banks to increase the reserves of capital that they must keep in reserve. Tell them to increase their reserves. Contract the money supply. Inflation will drop overnight. But you're not allowed to know these things, people. You must be lied to and propagandized. Think about how sick this is. All right, look, I'm out of here. Keep your eyes on this today. And like I said, just click on the link right down here in the description of this video at the MMRI. Keep your eyes on that. I can't wait to see myself what it's going to do today. I'll be honest with you. And it's my own little creation. It's free to everyone. Utilize these resources, people. Take advantage of these things. Wow. Let's see how this day plays out.